Alright, here we are, another project on the table. This is my my mock-up model. Just some Depron 6mm or smaller, I don't know, for maybe 4mm, and just kind of cutting it and putting pieces together, and this is what we've come up with. Just like pretty much a SketchUp model. Now I'm gonna blow it up and make the big one. It's an EDF. The whole point was to utilize EDF. This is one we got on. I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyways, we got this one. It's a 90mm, I believe. I could be wrong, but we're gonna go ahead and build something up to fit that. As you can tell, it's just a mock-up model, and that's the EDF that we're going to use. So here we go, just a simple design, different elevons in the back, rudder, and not going to put ailerons on it. Doesn't really need it. So we'll see what happens. We'll start sketching it up. Alright, we've taken and sketched up the mock-up model, and what I'm going to do is basically go 5 times the size that I've made, 5 times, and plus or minus a couple of different changes, but here we've got the basic layout, and gave myself some dimensions, and what I want to do too is utilize the whole sheet without trimming the length and the width. We can cut. I'm going to cut out the pattern, but I just didn't want to waste any material, so I figured I'd use the whole thing. So there's the base, and here's the cockpit. It's all profile. So we're going to take that. We're going to lay it out on the Depron and see what we can come up with. Alright, here's a full sheet of Depron. I think it was like 20 by 38 or 39 inches, give or take a couple inches or 16ths. But anyways, there's the prototype, the mock-up model, and it's kind of hard to see because of the light shining through, but I've got the pattern all laid out, where I'm going to make my cuts, where the elevators are going to be cut, or the elevons, and the nose, and then radiuses around where the kind of a winglet I've got cut up. I actually added on a couple of pieces to make it look like it had little flappers or kind of like little wings, just to kind of add to the idea, and also to stay as close as I could to the mock-up. So now my next move is to start cutting things out and glue the little winglets on. They're just Depron for little extensions for the wing, basically, like I say, winglet. And also cut some vertical fin and some stiffeners out. Okay, here we are with the vertical fin, which is basically the fuselage profile. You'll see where I drew in the canopy or the cockpit area. And then we have the vertical stiffeners that are going to go out almost halfway between the elevon area and straight forward. Something for strength, to keep it flat.
Just say you love me like you used to.
Okay, here we go. I've cut out the shape of the fuselage, basically, and I also put a doubler. This piece here is a doubler for strength. I might put a dowel right across there, just about a 3/16 dowel from tip to tip for strength. I don't know yet, so we'll continue on with the build and see what I'm going to do.
Say the
Okay,
things you
I built this
used
little
to
box
say,
to cradle the EDF,
and make the
and just a
world
simple
go away.
little stand. It's probably too beefy, but it should work. See how it goes. This is the underside, and what I've done is I made a backing plate for the EDF so that I could use it for something else later if I needed to pull the motor out. Because right now the way it is, you can't pull the motor out once it's in. So I made this backing plate, and you'll notice here that I perforated the area before I epoxy it, because it'll give me some bonding surface. All those little dots. Let me see, all those little dots I put in there for the glue to fill in. And then I'm going to run some wood screws or sheet metal screws to hold it in. Okay, here we go. I got the EDF mounted, and I've got the basically the vertical fin and the little verticalettes, I guess you'd call it, the little strips out by the wingtips. And I'm not going to put a rudder on it. So now at this point I've got to gotta do something. I've got to stiffen out the tail. The tail is just hanging out there, so now I have to put some stiffeners on it, otherwise it'll break off. Alright, here's a profile view. Looking at the left side, and just got to continue on adding stuff to it and get ready to mount the radio.
It takes my breath away just to look into your eyes. I know I don't deserve a treasure like you. There really
Okay, here we are. Major modification. On the back side here, I decided to go ahead and brace it because the vertical fin, super weak, would just flop around. And also the flat from here to here, it was just really flimsy. So rather than put a stiffener underneath, I decided to go ahead and put a fillet all the way across the back there, one on each side. And now I've decided I'm going to go ahead and put some landing gear on it, make it a tail dragger. I need the weight in the nose, so that'll help make it a tail dragger, landing gear up front. And I'll just use some skids or a couple of small wheels for the tracking on the ground. So we'll see. This is what I have for landing gear now. Yeah, for the landing gear, these are off of another project that I had made, and all it is just door skin material with some beveled blocks. I cut some bevels in some blocks, epoxied them in, put my pilot holes for the piano wire, and this is the door skin, and right here just a wedge block with some wedges to match the angles. So they're pretty sturdy, they're pretty flexible as far as spring, but the wire itself keeps them from springing back and forth. So we'll see if it works. It worked on the other model, so that'll work on this one. So that'll be the next step, is to put the landing gear, and then after the landing gear, I believe just start mounting the radio. Alright, here we go. I don't have a name for this, so we'll just go with what it looks like. It's just a over-exaggerated pizza box. And couple of modifications that I did since the last video is I went ahead and added the nose piece, and what I did was I just built it up with the Depron 9mm pieces to build up the nose on the right there on the front, and made it about 3 inches wide by doubling them up, 2 on each side. The outer one on the outside is glued on permanent, and then the one on this side is the actual hatch. Alright, here's a view of it with the hatch open. See the hatch sitting there on the table. And I've got 5 magnets holding it on. I've just got a piece of foam inside in case I need a filler for the battery. I'm hoping that that will hold the battery in without Velcro, so we're going to see, because I don't really expect it to be a very aerobatic plane. I just want to try out the EDF and see what pulling or lifting capacity it has. So I may put a little covering on it before today's test flight. I may just leave it the way it is. If I cover it before I leave the house, I will definitely post it. Thanks a lot, and wish me luck. Alright, here's something that I forgot to mention. I put the homemade landing gear on it that I made. I think I might have mentioned that sooner, but there's my landing gear, my main gear. Made it pretty much a tail dragger, and what I did was I took a piece of plywood. Actually, that's the plywood holding the EDF on, and I made a little block and just screwed it on, and that's a bamboo stick, a skewer, bamboo skewer. Drilled a hole in it at an angle, give it just a little bit of a pitch, glued it in, and then screwed the plate on. So all I have to do is clip the end of the skewer to get my height so that the tail isn't too high up or too low down. And next is the covering. I put some covering on it just to spruce it up a little bit. And here's basically the finished product. Just some simple covering so I can see the top from the bottom if it gets airborne. Looks like it's time to take it flying. We'll get some video on it, at least attempting to fly. See you guys at the flying field.